Hey, what's up, people? Hopefully this is going on live.
That looks like it's working.
I want to see the comments.
That's why you're putting it on. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, hey, welcome to another Wednesday.
This is fun.
I don't know if we're going to do it every Wednesday, but for now it's Wednesday.
Hey.
So oh man, for those of you that don't know, Kat and I have been feeling for years that we should do a podcast. And now just
something just to share more about who we are, what we do, how we do what we do.
I mean, look, we've been married almost 19 years. We have four kids, ages 17, 14, 11, and 7, almost 8. And we've been working together for the last 6 years. And we've owned businesses. We've had ups, downs, lots of different things. And obviously we like the ups more, but I feel like we've got something we can add to life.
I hope so.
And the best way to help add a little bit is to find out a little bit about us. So last week you interviewed me.
Yeah. Well, and we also thought, I think this is important too, is during this time, we wanted to throw some positivity out there. And there's a lot of fear and things going on in the world if you pay attention to the news a lot, which I don't. I do. I'm aware of current goings on, but I just don't dive into it so much that it affects me emotionally as much. And I just wanted to put more positivity out in the world. So that's partly why we're here too.
And maybe you'll chuckle or smile because we're a little crazy.
We would love to help people feel any emotions.
So yeah, maybe if you need to cry and this helps you cry, I'm cool with that too.
Yeah.
Okay, so
don't make people cry.
It's so terrible. I feel so bad for them.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got my questions on my phone. So I'm going to ask Kat some questions. We're going to have some fun.
I'll scoot over.
Well, no, I'm trying to scoot closer to you.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Because this is one that you said that you had an answer. What is your favorite date of ours?
Well, and I remember last week you said one that was definitely on the top of my list too, is that he surprised me for my 40th birthday and took me to Disneyland, just the two of us. But I do have another one in mind I want to share that was really fun and probably one of the biggest surprises I've ever received. It was when we had been married 5 years.
Oh yeah,
Do you remember? And John had just gotten a little Audi A4, and it was our anniversary, June 29th. And we drove up the canyon in Utah, which we love, going up the canyon, which we talked about last week. That's funny. And he surprised me. It was funny because we were just talking about dreams, and I remember we were talking about things that we wanted to do to the house. We wanted to finish the basement. We wanted to this was a different house we lived in at the time, and all these different things we were talking about and just dreaming. And he said, well, why don't you get a notebook or so? I don't remember how it happened exactly, but he asked me to get something out of the jockey box, the glove compartment, whatever you would call it.
Glove box.
The glove box, professional car people. And he surprised me with this ring, which has 5 diamonds, one for each year we've been married. And it fit. He had it made to fit with my wedding ring. And that was just a really big surprise and fun. And I wasn't expecting, we kind of talked about, we were doing kind of a big weekend away up in Park City, and we weren't doing gifts. And so he surprised me with this huge gift, and I'm like, I don't have anything for you. But it was really just meaningful and cool. And that whole weekend was so fun. And I remember we went to Ruth's Chris.
Oh,
That was Blue Boar Inn. That was the Blue Boar, and that was the year before. So we went to the Blue Boar Inn, which is one of our favorite places in Midway, and had amazing food. And they treated us like royalty. They were so wonderful. Great, great place to be. So it was just a really cool weekend. And that was when we rode scooters, right?
Yeah.
we
rented scooters.
We rented scooters and rode through the Wasatch National Forest and by the golf course and stuff. It was awesome. So it was a fun date.
That was a fun date. Okay.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
I think it's really important that we continue to date our spouse. And that's one thing I've loved that John has done for me, is that the chase ended like really fast. He knew he got me, but he never stopped chasing. He's still courting me. He still tries to win me over all the time.
Tries to win her over.
But we still date, and I love it. And I think that's a really important part of a relationship, that when you're working on being a better person yourself, that you are also making sure that you're taking time out to go on dates and be with that person.
Even in quarantine, we kick all our kids upstairs. We'll go down to the basement and watch a movie sometimes, and just tell our kids we're not home.
We're on a date. Leave us alone.
Leave us alone. Okay. This is an important one. If you had to do an extreme sport, what would you do?
Well, younger, I wish parkour would have been around. You knew I would say that.
I knew you'd say that.
I was a gymnast when I was little, and competitively for 7 years, and I love gymnastics. And now I see parkour, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I would have totally done that. I think another one that I would have done is like the Ultimate Ninja Warrior and those kind of things. Like, I totally would have done those. Not so much now. I'm a little more careful as I get older.
What's something you've always wanted to learn how to do?
That's really an interesting question, and I didn't think you'd ask me that one, so I haven't even given
She sent me
thought.
the questions to ask her. They're also the same questions as last week, but we're obviously picking different questions.
Yeah. What would I learn? There's so many things. Beekeeping.
Beekeeping,
It's
yes.
probably one that I really want to keep bees. And I know it's not like the highest skill level involved. You know, I know that it does take skill and knowledge and all that. Like, it's not like a really deep skill to have, but I think it would be super cool. And I have a couple neighbors who do it. So one of these days I might bug them.
Anyone have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat and we'll ask those questions. We got some good ones last week.
Yeah, we did get some fun questions last week.
We'll get a few this week. What is your favorite season and why?
Summer. 1,000,000% summer. Because I can play sand volleyball almost every day. It's what I love. Summer, I love the heat. I love the sun. I love swimming. I love summer. I love the kids not being in school and being able to go outside and play with friends. Had to add that part because we have the kids not in school right now, but we're doing school and they can't play with friends. So I love all of those things about them.
Have you ever been stuck in an elevator?
Yes.
You have?
Yes. I got stuck in an elevator when I was probably 14 or 15. Tom and Ann, my brother and his wife, were working for this guy who was one of the original WordPerfect people. And we had like a party at this guy's house. And it was like my mom and my dad and Tom and Ann and me and probably more people, but that's who I remember. And we all got stuck. He had an elevator in his house and it stopped working in between floors. So we had to call the fire department.
Tip, if you decide to take an elevator that's inside of a house, it probably has a low weight limit.
Probably. And we are not the smallest people.
Okay, questions coming in. Rob Norcross asked, favorite song that I perform?
Oh, man. Well,
that's a good one, Rob.
That's a really good question. He wrote me a song, Rob, when we were dating. And the title is perfect, depending on how you say it. Because the title is What Have I Done? And the chorus is What Have I Done to Deserve This? And it's meant in a nice way, but I love when I tell people the name of the title because it's like, oh no, what have I done?
No, she intentionally says it like, what have I done to deserve this? This is horrible.
But that's
terrible.
My favorite song for him to play because he really wrote it really soon after we met. And he wrote it about the first night we met and the connection we felt that night. So it's a special song for me. I think as far as like songs out there, I think Counting Stars is probably one of my favorites to hear you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Rob and I did a pretty good job with that.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
you guys did.
Okay.
Love the band.
Brielle asks, favorite TV show? And I'll narrow it down.
You're going to say your favorite show.
No, I'm not going to say my favorite show. I'm going to narrow it down. It can't be a random show that we found on Netflix.
Oh, but I was going to say my Netflix favorite.
No.
My Netflix favorite is Chef's Table.
That's not
That's
what I
my
was thinking.
favorite
Yeah,
show.
that's a good show.
I think
You
that's
can say that one.
that's another skill I would learn is like gourmet cooking, probably. So if any of you are bored and want to check out a really cool documentary series, Chef's Table on Netflix is super impressive, beautifully shot. I love it. It's a beautiful series.
I was thinking The Heart of Dixie. Didn't want you to say
Oh,
that.
no.
Not
my
not
favorite.
recorded, not on
Lame show.
Facebook Live.
That's a lame show.
We may or may not have seen a few episodes of that. Okay, next topic. This is a good question. I think it's worthy of asking. Secret to raising a house full of boys. You can have a couple if you need.
I think the biggest secret for raising a house full of boys for me, well, there's two things that come to mind. One of them is having a sense of humor, because boys are funny. And I'm not just talking like bodily fluid. Like my boys aren't crude funny. Like a lot of boys are crude funny. John doesn't get into that so much, so our boys don't. But just having a sense of humor about everything. Being the only woman in the house can be crazy and hard sometimes. I know.
Sorry.
It's okay. Just having a sense of humor. And the other big thing I think is giving myself grace. And I think that goes for any mom and raising a house full of kids, period. Raising one kid, being a good person in general is just to have more grace for yourself. Because everybody has their own, every single one of our boys is completely different than the other, and none of them are the same. So we're learning with each kid, and we learn with each day. So have grace.
That's good stuff. What college did you go to? What colleges did you go to, and why?
I went to Utah Valley State University at the time. It was the first year that UVU was a state university. And I played volleyball and softball there. And then I transferred to BYU and played softball at BYU.
I love it. Okay.
And I went to school so I could play sports in college, let's be honest. I did get a degree, but I really went to school for sports.
I'm going to ask you this question because you asked me this last week. If you were a guest on a talk show, what would you talk about? I really like that question.
Wow. There's so many things. I think one of the things I would talk about is right now, I would think probably I would talk about, I've been studying about growth mindset for the last couple of years a lot. So I would probably talk about living your best life and having a growth mindset around everything in your life, around your health, physical health, financial health, emotional health, around your kids, just adopting that growth mindset and always being in a place of learning and growth. That's probably what I talk about.
I love that.
I'd be boring. I'd be a boring talk show
It's not
host.
boring. It's not boring.
Talk show guest.
What book do you wish everyone was required to read in school?
That's funny you asked that right after that other question, because you know the one I'll say is Mindset by Carol Dweck. That is one of them. I think another book that I think everyone should read is The 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership.
That's good.
Yeah, by Jim Dethner, and I know there's other, it's right here. There's a few authors, but he's the one I'm most familiar with. So it's a really great book about being a conscious leader in your life and just being present.
Whose TED Talk would you want to be in the audience for?
Brene Brown.
Really?
Yeah, I love her.
Okay.
I do. I love her shame study. I love all her vulnerability stuff. She was kind of who turned me into that realm of study, and I really like her. So I would love to be a guest in her TED Talk.
Were you ever sent to the principal's office in school?
Yes.
You were? I haven't even heard this story.
I got in a fight. I got in a fight with a boy when he was. I got in a fight in elementary school playing soccer.
Well, there's the problem. You're playing soccer.
I was in 5th grade, and the boy that I got in a fight with was in 6th grade, and he punched me in the stomach because I stole the soccer ball from him. So he was mad, and he punched me, and so we both got to. I didn't hit him. I promise. I didn't. There was no punching by me, not this specific time, but I did get sent to the principal's office and have to talk about it.
So, Aaron asks, do you ever yell at your kids in Russian when you don't want them to know what you're really saying?
No, because my Russian's so bad, Aaron. I wish it was better. Oh, I want to. Sometimes I say words, but not my Russian. I've lost too much of my Russian to really yell at him in Russian. But he does it in German, so he makes up for it.
The best part is our oldest is taking German in school, and I'm always like, dude, like, you never ask me any questions. He's like, I know everything. So then I'll start talking to him in German, and he's deer in headlights.
Yeah, but I remember that. I took 3 years of French, and I don't remember anything. And I didn't understand a word when I was in Paris.
That's so true. Okay.
That's true. Nobody would know if it's a Russian word or not. That is true. I think that's a really important thing. I should just start yelling in sounds that sound like Russian.
Were you ever kicked out of a class in college?
Not kicked out. Never kicked out of the class.
Okay.
But I did get sent to the BYU honor code.
That's what I was digging for.
Oh, yeah, because of my skirt being too short. Yeah, I wore a skirt that was too short at BYU. And my teacher sent me to the honor code to get a violation for my mini skirt. It wasn't that short, but it was.
It was not that short.
I showed you.
You don't know anything that short.
I don't own it, but I was in college. I came straight from my job, and I wore a skirt for my job. So got
her job at BYU?
No, my job was Gart Brothers.
Oh,
that was when I
Gart
worked at Gart
Brothers.
Brothers.
Okay. If you started your own restaurant, what food would you serve?
Oh, this is good. This is good because we talk about this at home. So I have our 11-year-old he's like our little chef, and he wants to cook. And so he and I want to start.
More like he.
Well, more like him, but it's his idea, but I would have to help him. And I love to cook, so it's fine. We would start a food truck, and it would be called Leans and Greens. Lean protein, green veggies, kind of see the theme here. We eat healthy. And every day it would serve a different lean and green meal. So it would be a healthy option for people to buy a lean and green meal every day.
Would they get to choose, or just that is what it is?
We haven't decided.
Okay. But
that was Zach's idea, is just to have one lean and green every day. But maybe we'd have to do 2 options a day that you could choose. So that you'd have people interested to come back to the... Yeah. Well, because then if you have like a really delicious thing, it has to be like a staple. Right. Agreed. What is the best life advice you have received, and who said it to you? Wow. I am going to go with something that might be a surprise. Oh, well, I surprised you last week, so surprise away. I honestly, I've just been thinking about this lately because I'm so grateful. My friend, Amber and Jared, that are my health coaches, this might be some of the best advice I ever received was, why don't you pay it forward and help other people with their health? And it's kind of shifted our whole lives. They were like, you know what? You have something in your hands that a lot of people need. And I kind of didn't know for sure if I believed them. So that advice to just kind of put myself out there and see if there was a few people out there who needed some help with their health physically or emotionally or financially, that I could jump in and help. So who knew? Who knew that that's what we'd be doing? What a blessing. That's crazy. Yeah, I think that's kind of what I just think that's probably the best advice I've ever received. So thanks, friends, if you're watching. I think that's a good question to end on. Do you want to know? I can come up with some more. Good. If any of you have any questions or anything you want to ask us, just send us a PM.
just send us a DM or something, a topic that you are curious our take on. Let us know.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Because we would love to take a few minutes and
we just have fun
talk about it. And if you want to be a guest on our show as well, let us know. We would love to have you.
Yeah, we know how to operate Zoom. We can do guests.
We can do that. Thanks for taking a few minutes. Thanks for answering honestly.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Those are some scary questions that I asked you. You handled them like a
I hope
champ.
I'm not too boring for the world.
Oh my gosh. Thanks for helping on, everybody. Have a great day.